This is part 2 of Look Who's Using the R Word. Learn more about white chalk crime.
If they go after one teacher, they will go after another teacher simply because she or he befriended that teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So they go after someone if they don't do anything wrong. They go after someone who is too smart. They go after someone who the kids like. They go after someone who's just doing their job.
How about classic bullying? How about the parents?
And they leave the most mediocre brown nosers in the system.
Have you noticed that the people the parents like are the ones they really don't like?
Yes, yes. And when another group was speaking
Try to
for,
prevent parents and teachers from becoming friends.
they empower certain students
Certain
who
types of
act
parents.
very badly. When I first started working at the regular high school that I worked in, a kid told me the first day, "Oh, I got a teacher fired last year," and this student could not write well, and yet I heard another teacher saying, "Oh, he writes well." Now he couldn't, but I didn't even argue it. But what happens is they find students, and these students will always pass. These students will always be able to do whatever they want to the teacher because the principal will pass them. So they use those students. And then I also had another student who was very nice, very good. He had been arrested for marijuana. So there's different things going on. There's drug dealing going on, but the ones who get in trouble for whatever it is, whether it's drugs or often they are the ones who are not favored by administration.
Would this be too strong of a statement that this is a conspiracy to steal?
No, it's not.
A conspiracy to steal the schools from the parents.
Exactly.
I mean,
To hijack the schools.
hijack the schools because really the schools are there to educate children. The parents are the end consumer.
Well, it gets more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Because beyond just trying to hijack the schools from the parents, sometimes they're pulling an emperor's new clothes kind of thing, where they think that they're being empowered. They get certain parents and they exclude other parents.
Right.
They empower one group and they try to pit one group against the other. I've seen it happen in PTAs, SLTs, all of those things, where they try to get certain parents together. They spread rumors, they talk mess about how the parents dress, they insult the parents, and they do things so that one group of parents feels that they're better than the other.
They take personal correspondence and show it to other parents just to instigate problems.
Well, they definitely do that to teachers because I had it done to me.
And change grades and change students' grades.
So what kind of parents are they able to use as the stooges, the ones that like do their work for them?
Aspiring middle class ones who have a concept of themselves larger than what they are.
Would you say materialistic types?
Materialistic type people who like to be praised, who have an ego problem or need to be petted. And what happened in our situation was one parent who had been part of the orchestrating of writing letters against teachers, and she ended up getting angry when her kid was accused of arson. She handed over hundreds of documents and emails proving that the principal of the school was purposely asking that only certain parents, 15 out of 88, would be invited to any of the meetings. So she excluded more than, 75% of the school she excluded from any meeting?
And teachers were always excluded from any parent meetings. There was never a parent-teacher meeting or parent-teacher anything. It was always the principal with this select group of 15 or so parents having their own emerging parent council.
She played the semantics. She would call it the emerging parents leaders. Well, how were they emerging from the chrysalis? She was only paying attention to those 15. None of the others had received from. And then when Cynthia called us and said, "How come there was a meeting and no one told me?"
So what you're saying, it's very manipulated, very controlled.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So the parents have no idea that they're being stooges.
The parent-teacher divide is a very crucial part of this.
Oh.
So hating teachers is really important. Is that right?
Oh, yes.
So they've done a good job of that.
Very good.
And it sounds like equally in the charter schools as well as the public schools. And by the way, Anonymous 3, are you still teaching?
Yes.
In spite of what you got fired. So how did you manage to continue
I had to
teaching?
move.
How far away did you have to move?
A distance. A distance. Yeah, I'd rather not get into
Yeah,
it.
I can
but, yeah.
understand that.
Yeah, because you don't know, but I believe I was blackballed in the entire state. I went
So you had to
on
leave the state.
many interviews, yeah.
Right, and I hear this all the time.
And I'm highly qualified.
And I-
2 certifications.
I consider yourself lucky that you were able to even get into another state because sometimes it goes across states.
And some people lose their licenses completely on just the whim of a principal. And I mean, you cannot believe how teachers know this. The general public does not know this. How teachers get terrorized with observations. When I went to my last school, I was observed the second week of school by the principal and the AP. We had no textbooks yet. I had 40 desks in the room. I could hardly move around. And they observed me the second week, no textbooks, 90-degree weather. And then at the post-observation conference, they said, oh, you didn't move around the room enough. And just, it just seemed like they were out for me. And I said to the principal, I'll do whatever you want. And if you're still not happy, I'll be happy to transfer out. The principal at one of the hearings said, you said to me, I'll do whatever you want, and if you don't like it, I'll just transfer out.
So
it's
you
a
said-
little bit, yeah, they're just totally
Make up things. you're saying.
cynical and malicious. And if they want to get somebody, I remember one observation, he said, you didn't assign homework. So I showed him the homework, so he took it out of the written report. I mean, I was terrorized every time I would be observed. And you could do the best teaching in the world. My students did well on their tests, the standardized tests that they take. And you could just have a principal or an AP, which is just an opinion. And these opinions, which are not even honest opinions, are being held up as if there's something like somebody who's an expert. Aren't teachers experts? Are we idiots? Are teachers just idiots?
I think you all have done a good job of conveying the terror, because in what other profession would you see 3 people with bags on their head
Who are supposed to be professionals?
who are supposed to be professionals looking like, what's his name? Square. What is his name? I never get this right.
SpongeBob
I know. Square. It's not square head. It's square pants. SpongeBob. But that's what This is it may be funny, but it's really sad that that's what teaching has come to. And that's why we're here meeting today in New York at our movement try to launch our movement to tell people about white chalk crime, because until they get it, the people running our schools are going to get whatever they want.
Yeah, but it's being directed from higher above.
Oh, we know
they
that.
can put any lie, and they are just getting away with murder.
Yeah.
Teachers have no rights.
Well, I appreciate you coming today, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. And we're going to make sure this is seen by people with power who care, because in the end, who suffers? Not just us as teachers, who else suffers?
The children.
Big time.
Yeah, the parents have to mobilize and say, we don't want this for our children. We don't want to have a third world country where you have, 5% educated and the rest.
Right.
All of that is by design.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.